What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jeremy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video, and it's finally not a drama video. Feels like forever since the last time I made non-drama content. But when we come over here, how many of you guys remember me talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows? Because this game has been plagued with controversy after controversy ever since the initial trailer dropped. When you come over here to the American trailer, you can see that it's sitting at 554k downvotes compared to 294k upvotes. Already getting ratioed out the gate day one. You had the controversy over the prices of the game, having the base game coming in at $70. But in order to get full-fledged access to the game, you're going to have to be spending up to $130 on the game itself. Ridiculous price gouging for subpar products. But the real interesting thing was that this game that is obvious an attempt to try to get Japanese audiences interested, maybe connect more with the Japanese culture as a whole, considering it is based in feudal Japan. The Japanese audience hasn't really been liking what they're seeing either. You come over here to Ubisoft Japan and you see it's sitting at 54k downvotes to only 5.4k upvotes. You ended up also having the We Are Mad video come out by Shoei Kondo, where he lays out what people are so frustrated with when it comes to this game, and pointed out that, hey, it's not just Yasuke. The situation doesn't just boil down to Yasuke. It boils down to your arrogance of trying to peddle this subpar product as actual feudal Japan, when besides Yasuke, there's also issues with kanji, there's issues with architecture, foliage, weaponry, armor, all sorts of stuff, the way people act, the way people treat, and just the overall look of having a black man going around feudal Japan beating up Asians. Not really a good look. But since then, you've had Japanese gamers launch petitions citing racism towards Asian cultures as a reason like this game should not be released in Japan. And when you come over here to the change.org petition, it's sitting at 103,000 signatures. You also had Japanese players torching Ubisoft, considering that they've been going around saying that, one, it's historical fiction, but at the same time, we're trying to be very accurate to historical depictions of stuff. Even though, again, like I pointed out, weaponry, armaments, dialogue, way people dress, foliage, architecture, all these things aren't accurate for feudal Japan, and some of the things aren't even accurate to Japan itself. Well, since then, you ended up having Ubisoft also being caught stealing banners, stealing Rono Zoro's sword from One Piece, all sorts of chaos all over the place. Politicians saying that this could lead to a diplomatic incident, and you also had Ubisoft have to issue a apology, air quotes around the apology, that just boiled down to shut the hell up and buy the game. Well, some of the more interesting things around this game have recently come out, one of which was actually a corroborator on the game itself, even though Ubisoft's trying to hide the fact that he was an assistant to making the game, was African samurai author Thomas Lockley. Now, this dude's a Japanese historian, again, air quotes around Japanese historian. He's actually just a full-fledged activist, and he wrote a book known as African Samurai, in which he alleges that he went through all this historical text and all this historical stuff to prove that, yes, Yasuke was a samurai, and look at all this stuff. Well, he was disproven once by actual Japanese citizenry. Well, it recently has shown that he's been disproven not just by Japanese citizenry, but the government themselves. Japanese government exposes author's lie of Assassin's Creed Shadows collaborator Thomas Lockley. Now, I already mentioned that Ubisoft's trying to say that he did not assist in the making of the game itself or anything like that. The only problem to that is he's been on multiple podcasts with Ubisoft talking about the African samurai. Yeah, sorry, bud. But when we scroll down here, it ends up being that Lockley doesn't know what the word kuro means. Kuro can have multiple different definitions, as it looks like. And what he's trying to do in this particular area of discussion is say that Kuro means black samurai or African samurai. And you come down here, as translated by Deep L, the government entity responded in the Kurama family documents, letter of Kiyoma's Kato, year unknown, addressed to Madazami Shimokawa and others. The word Kuro appears in a description related to Hideyoshi Toyotomi's invasion of Korea. In Black Samurai Yasuke, the African samurai who served Nobunaga, broadcast on NHK BS 4K on March 30th, 2021, Thomas Lockley, associate professor of Nihon University, stated that Kuro mentioned in this document may be a successor of Yasuke, a black samurai who served Oba Nobunaga. The document is a Kuro document. But they continue. First of all, we at the archive have not recognized this Kuro as a black person at all. We are surprised by Mr. Lockley's suggestion. In fact, whether or not this Kuro was Yasuke, there had been a view that he was presumed to be black Nakajima Ryuki, 16th century late Kyushu, Southeast Asia trade, Shikagaku Soyushi, number 18-8, etc. At this point, however, it is difficult to make a definite determination. Since the black appears in only one place in the document, for example, the word Kuro also appears in the Tales of Genji, which means Kuro needed incense and seems to occur frequently in Japanese classics. In addition, some of our staff members have suggested that it would be more natural to see it as a description of an object rather than a person when reading our documents. Based on the above, it is the opinion of the archive staff of the museum that it is difficult to immediately conclude that Kuro is a black person at this point in time. So you have this whole word Kuro, which could have multiple meanings, could be in reference to multiple things, but Lockley is hinging his entire thesis, his entire beliefs, that Kuro refers to black samurai. When it goes to actual Japanese historians and they start looking at the context, they start looking deeper into this one word, they say it could mean this actual guy over here who's South Asian and is actual like samurai. It could mean needed incense, or it could mean that an object was black, not a person was black. So the one thing that actually like tries to pin you down and you stake everything on why you like African samurai and why Yasuke wasn't a real samurai, honestly looks like it doesn't actually mean what he says it means. And the government's even shocked by the thought that you thought that this meant Yasuke or like a descendant of Yasuke or somebody that's connected to Yasuke. That's ridiculous. This man who's supposed to be a Japanese historian who wrote this whole book called African Samurai, we're getting even more proof that he's just a hack and an activist. Similar to what we ended up discovering here in this particular article, when the Japanese Times even came out and goes like, yeah, it heavily looks like this dude's nothing more than an activist and will actually take historical information and historical situations and try to bend them to his own belief structures and his own belief wills. When we come back over here to this article, you can see it right here. Not only is Lockley lying about collaborating with Ubisoft, but this appears to be a pattern of behavior as noted by Japanese Toru Nato, who has done significant research into Lockley's claims regarding Yasuke and how it influences Assassin's Creed Shadows. Following an exhaustive breakdown of an interview Lockley gave with the Japan Times regarding Yasuke, Nato concluded, I used to think he was just presumptuous, speculative researcher. However, what I understand from his interview in the Japan Times is that he is deliberately lying. He who distorts history for his political beliefs is not qualified to be a historian. And this is a guy who, again, Ubisoft has indeed used with their foundation to why Yasuke is 100% a historical fact. Why he is historically a samurai. And it's just insane. And you can try to go over here to like their whole apology that they ended up putting out, where they're like, well, we know there's debate back and forth, but Ubisoft constantly tries to say that no, he was an historical samurai. People constantly try to say that yes, he was a historical samurai. And to make matters worse, after being trashed by gamers, Assassin's Creed Shadows lead producer Carl Oni doubles down on game's commitment to be authentic as possible. We see you guys are using liars as your basis. We see you guys butchering the actual historical accuracies all over the place. Architecture, weaponry, Yasuke, dialogue, all sorts of stuff constantly comes out about how this game is far from accurate for the actual time it is taking place. And you guys are still trying to say that you're as authentic as possible. You can't have it both ways. Either you're a historical fiction or you're a historical fact. And all I am seeing is that they are trying to play both sides while pandering to the progressive crowd and saying, no, we're historical fiction, but yes, all this stuff's accurate and true to the story, but we're historical fiction. Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You got to pick one or the other. And the more you try to play both sides, the more people are pointing out how deplorable you are acting and how awful this situation is getting. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Let me get you guys thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it up, friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. Bye for now.